Welcome back, you're watching Storyboard. Last week, Draft FCB Ulka dropped the word draft from its name. It's now called FCB. The name change takes place 6 months after 39-year-old Carter Murray took over the post of CEO. He was in India this week and we caught up with him to understand the potential of the Indian market, which he counts amongst the top 5 for FCB. Listen in.
To begin with, this must be one of the most pleasant visits, with the margins from India and the growth from India.
Well, I think more important than the margins and the growth are the people. We have an amazing team of people here, and it absolutely is a pleasure to be here, so you're right.
What about the margins? Unusual margins considering what is happening around the world?
Well, we have, this is one of our most important offices around the world, and I think we have the scale and the talent where we do have a healthy business. So yes, that's a nice byproduct of having great people and great clients and doing great work.
Having made this trip, what are the kind of input you're going to have for this office?
The answer is very little.
Right.
I think most of what I want to do from this market is to export as much of the learnings from here as possible to other markets.
Right.
We have here a very strong team. What I love is that we have, I think, best-in-class talent. But if you speak to any of the management team and pay them a compliment, which I have a tendency to do, I'm accused sometimes of being overly effusive.
Right.
What they will always tell you is it's not them, it's the person next to them or the person who reports into them. And I think we have the very best people in the marketplace working at our agency here. I truly believe that. So I think for me to come in and tell them how to run their business when they run it flawlessly would be a massive mistake. Right. So I think what you'll see is us doing more of what we do well, making sure that we celebrate it at a global level, and making sure that that we're constantly focused and remain focused on what Ulka is known for, which is, taking really good care of our clients and their business and being a real partner to them.
One of Ulka's strengths, and it just grows day by day, is the fact that senior people don't leave them, and all client relationships remain solid. Now, these are pluses and minuses both. Mm-hmm. Would you care to comment on that?
For me, it's a plus.
Right.
It's only a plus, and it's nothing but a plus.
Right.
To be clear,
yeah,
on
no,
my
sure.
point of view.
No, sure.
I think it reflects the trust that exists between clients, our clients and our talent and our people here. I think it reflects the strength of culture. I think it reflects real strength when you're able to work as a team and stay as a team.
Right.
So for me, it's a huge plus.
As we globalize, will we see FCB India becoming more FCB, or it's something which should happen? With
the rebranding that we've done,
right.
I think it's hopefully clear that what I want to do is make sure we celebrate the local. We are the same size as many other, very large and successful agencies, like a Leo Burnett or a Young and Rubicon, two great networks. But we have intrinsically local business. We have 2 or 3 global clients, but we have a lot of local business. So if you look at the rebranding, it's very much about FCB, but being incomplete with the cut without having the local brand name. And it's all about celebrating the local brand name in our design and our identity and how we present ourselves.
Right.
So for me, it's about having very much a culture up network, whereby we celebrate the local creativity and insights, and that feeds up into the global company, rather than having a top-down approach. But we will have, one global purpose, one global vision you have to be careful with. But I think we need to have one set of values as a global company. But I don't want to lose the local excellence and the local culture that we have in each of our offices.
In India particularly, it is the local businesses which are under threat. All the other network agencies have a sizable amount of network business. Ulka has been very, very strong with their dependence on network business has been very low. Mm-hmm. That's the area which is under attack from hyper competition in India. So how would you react to that?
I think in our industry, if you rest on your laurels for 1 minute, you get yourself in deep trouble. It's a very humbling business. It's always 3 steps forwards and 1 step back. I think losing and winning business is unfortunately part of our industry. I'm confident, given the quality of the people. Everything stops and starts with the quality of our people. And what I love about our culture and our agency here is that we have the very best people. So I think whatever the environment, I think we are in a strong position because we have the right people in the right jobs.
FCB going strong. Meanwhile, rumor mills keep buzzing about WPP's intent to ramp up its stake in Rediffusion YNR. At the moment, all involved parties are choosing to keep mum and maintain that it's business as usual. Storyboard editor Anant Rangaswamy spoke to YNR's global CEO David Sable about the importance of digital and integrating VML case.
Thank you for talking to us. To
My
begin
pleasure.
with, specific to the advertising business, okay, VML case certainly I met Tripti and lots is happening there, but not on the advertising side. And if you go back 10 years, Rediff was a huge name, and this agency was a huge name in the business.
I think Rediff is still a huge name in the business. As I said, it's a venerable name, and everything that I believe, everything that I see, everything that I feel, and all the people I've met are all doing the right things. And we're in a business that always has its ups and downs. I think it's part of the natural cycle of the advertising business. So watch the upside.
Okay. This is what you tweeted to me. Digital is everything, but not everything,
is digital.
Can you expand on that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Today in the world, there is nothing that is not digital. So even a newspaper gets printed from a digital source. Just about everything that we do has some basis in digital. But not everything is digital, because we still walk out into the streets. Take a look at your own country. I mean, look at the life on the street. Look at the vibrancy. Look at what's happened. Now, if you go back 15 years, all the analysts were predicting that we'd be living in caves again, because we'd be stuck in front of a screen typing away, and restaurants would die, movies would die, retail that was inside a building would die. And exactly the opposite has happened. In fact, the opposite is happening around the world. Movies are still powerful. Restaurants are starting up like never before. Young entrepreneurs are doing things. We're all jaded because we think that all the entrepreneurs are in the technical side of the business. Not true. Young entrepreneurs all over the world are starting fashion companies. They're starting restaurants. They're starting small boutiques of different types, artisanal food, and all kinds of things that they do. And that's because digital, not everything is digital. So the question is, how do we take those two sides of life? Digital is an enhancer. We call it digital exponential. We love the notion of the digital world making your real life that much more powerful, giving you new tools, new opportunities, new ways to buy, but enhancing the life that you have. So for example, we know that people who have smartphones, most of the search done on smartphones is local search, because I'm out and about. I want to know something. I want to go someplace. I want to go to a restaurant. So digital is everything, absolutely, but not everything is digital.
Right. Specific to India, will we see, say, VML working much closer with Rediffusion YNR, for example?
Absolutely. But that's our model around the world. Our model is every office that we have is digital. So Rediffusion YNR does great digital work, and they've done some really amazing things I've seen over the past few days. But there's a technical side to the VML business that no advertising agency in the world will ever have. And so we think it's the power of bringing our technical side and our creative brand side together that is a very powerful offering for our clients.
Right.
Now, by the way, VML also has their own clients, and they do their own work as well.
Sure.
But when we bring the two together, that's what the partnership delivers.
Right. We're seeing this in India, certainly. Is competition forcing both advertising agencies and digital agencies, traditional advertising agencies and digital agencies, to underprice themselves?
I don't think that's just because of digital. I think that's just because that's where the market's going. I think that clients have we're seeing this globally, put way more pressure on their agencies. So I don't think it's an issue of digital. I think it's just an issue of the times that we're in. I think it's not just the pressure on us. I think it's the pressure on all partners that all of our clients have. And I imagine we're putting pressure on some of our suppliers as well. It's just that's the nature of the world. And so I think we're just seeing that pressure. We're seeing the application of that pressure, and we're all dealing with it.
Sort of getting back to something you said, which in a LinkedIn blog, the standard price of admission has been your email address, talking about the Groucho Marx Fund, talk about membership to a club. Now I want you to help us with two areas of this. One is the challenges for the club owner, so to say, the brand manager. What are the things you should be careful of doing, and what should the consumer be careful of not giving away? These are the two areas.
So again, the quote that you reference was an article that I wrote, a piece that I wrote,
Right.
specifically about what a club is and isn't. So there was one time that being part of a club, there's a value exchange. So it made no difference
Absolutely.
what club you join. There's a value exchange. So if I give you something, you have to give me something back. If I give you information, you have to give me something back that's worth the value of my information. What's happened online is we've made that price of entry strictly my email,
Sure.
and then Google, for example, then takes it and says, well, it's not just your email, we want you in Google Plus, which then shares everything that you do across our platform. Facebook is asking for the same. But it's not clear what the value exchange is for me. They have access to all my data. They have access to all my information, which they then sell. But the consumer is not left with anything. The consumer is left with supposedly a better experience because now maybe you're giving me ads that are more relevant to me, maybe you're sending me messages about pricing and other things that are more relevant to me, but maybe I really don't care. So I think that that's the issue that I'm trying to address here. The value exchange doesn't work. And I think that ultimately it's going to backfire. And so I think that if I was a brand manager, I'd think about that value exchange. So for example, we once did a program for a major food company in the United States where they had asked for a lot of information going in. A lot of information. And they didn't get a lot of response. And we said to them, you don't really need that. Ask for one piece of information first, which is the email, which is fine.
Sure.
But now, what do we give back to those people? So if you sent me an email, we sent you beautiful access to a magazine format of really good information. Then we asked you for another piece of information. We wanted to know what your household was like. And there was a short, maybe 3 or 4 questions. So we'd know if you have children, if you're an empty nester, maybe your grandparents, whatever, we would know that from your answers. But then what you got back was tailored to you, very specific.
Right.
So the value exchange was very clear. I asked you for something, I gave you something back. So I think that every brand manager has to ask themselves, if I ask you for something, if I ask my consumer for something, am I giving them back enough that makes that value exchange worth it to the customer so they feel that there really is a dialogue here, there really is a relationship. Otherwise, it's one way.
Sure.
And that's a waste of the web.
Okay, finally to my last question. 1 year from now, can you suggest some quantifiable answers on how you would have liked to have seen Lead Division Y on our progress? In terms of, say, ranking or billing or something that viewer can hold on to.
I want all our clients to say that we are their best partner. That'll be my biggest measure of success.
We'll definitely be keeping tabs on Rediffusion Y&R's future. Now, here's a quick recap of the Olive Crown Awards that were held last week. The big winner was McCann, which won the Green Agency of the Year thanks to its 4 golds and 2 silver medals.
If you look at financial health, there are bigger guys in this country who can do that than I can do it or my agency can do it. But through what you are blessed with, the craft you are blessed with, the communication art which you practice, or through my poetry I do it. So I think one can make a difference and one should make a difference. It is a reaffirmation of the fact that you're on the right track and you're doing something right for them.
Congratulations, winners. With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. Stay connected. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and of course the brands page at firstbiz.com. Until then, thanks for watching.